Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nagaland, and welcome to The Monster Inside. This is sort of a black and white noir sort of story in a game. It shouldn't take you very long. It's a free little game off of Steam. The link will obviously be down in the description if you want to give it a go yourselves. Not 100% sure what it's about. Look pretty good. So just gonna get in, see what it's all about. You know me. Download the game. Don't know what it's about. Could be shit. Could be great. Don't know. Let's find out. By Random Seed Games. My head pounded, ears still ringing slightly. Some of the worst nightmares I'd had in years left me feeling like I'd been punched in the jaw. But just like any other day, I dragged myself into the office. There was another notice on the door from Mayor Vanetti's office. Permits out of date. They didn't like me much and were trying to drown me in paperwork. It was a slow month. Weeks since I had any real case to work on. So I passed the time pacing the office, smoking and staring at the mirror in the corner, safely covered with an old bedsheet. Right there. I don't dare look at my own reflection. I'm too afraid of what I might see. Afraid someday I might have to face what I really am. The girl came in so quiet, I nearly choked on my cigarette.
Mister, please. You gotta help me, mister.
Calm down, let's sit and talk slow. Yeah, what can I help you with? Have you ever heard of knockback? Calm down.
Okay, thanks. It's just no one will listen to me.
Just tell me your tale. I'm listening. She eyed me with just a dash of suspicion as I tossed back a handful of pills and chased him with a swig of whiskey. I could tell this might take a while. Her name was Lily. She told me she was his mistress, the man all over the newspapers, the famous banker, Mr. Reginald Farnsworth. Mr. Farnsworth was a drunk, philandering bastard, but this girl seemed genuinely concerned that he had recently gone missing. Less concerned about the fact that Mr. Farnsworth's wife had just turned up dead in Central Park 2 nights ago.
You don't understand. He just couldn't have done it. He hated his wife, but he couldn't have killed her. Everyone thinks it was him and no one believes me. He's gonna be in trouble.
I ain't saying I believe you, but what makes you think he's in danger? Cause I ain't saying I believe you, but what makes you think he's in trouble?
Well, mister,
Jack. You can call me Jack.
Jack, whoever did that to his wife must have been the one who took him. He would never have left without me. He promised me.
I'm sure Mr. Farnsworth promised this poor girl a lot of things.
Please, the cops won't listen to me, and they want to bring him in on charges. You gotta prove it wasn't him before they find him.
Honestly, I doubt they're in too much of a hurry. Farnsworth had practically the entire police force in his deep pockets. Probably why they hadn't found much yet. If they found him and brought him in, it would be due to public pressure. Sometimes a mob with pitchforks is more dangerous than one man with money. You've got my curiosity, but you might not like what I find. I can help you, we'll get to the bottom, don't you worry. You've got my curiosity.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Jack. Thank you. But please, be careful. I don't think this was just any murderer or kidnapper. I think it was a beast.
Beast? The word struck me funny, like when you jar your elbow on a hard corner. Not a word many use these days, except in our hushed whispers and bedtime stories for children. Oh, they were real enough, all right. They just got better at hiding, controlling their unseemly urges. But I hadn't seen any monsters in nearly 15 years, back when I was still a cop myself. That's definitely an interesting theory. I can help you. We'll get to the bottom of it. Don't you worry now. Leave the detective work to me. Let's not jump to conclusions here. We'll go for that one.
And you seem like the kind of man who's good at solving mysteries.
Sure. Can't you see how busy I am with cases? I replied a little too harshly. Sarcasm wasn't my strong suit. I reassured her some more and sent her on her way. I didn't want to scare her, but I warned her before she left to keep her doors locked and call me if she saw anything suspicious. I didn't know if she was in any danger herself, but better be safe than sorry. That night I made my way down to Central Park. It was a long shot, but maybe there was something there the cops had missed.
Next chapter.
The scene was already picked clean by the cops days ago, but I've got a knack for finding the things others overlook. A knack. More of a symptom of a condition. Other less useful symptoms I kept in check, but for the time being, my keen sense of smell would come in very handy. It was faint, but I could smell it before I even approached the police line. The scent was less of a thing and more of an emotion. Seduction. A strangely familiar smell. I expected the scent of trepidation, or maybe even outright fear, but Mrs. Farnsworth seemed to have been at the height of pleasure when she left this world. Brought new meaning to a crime of passion. Pushing the thought from my mind, it was time to get down to business. Alright, investigate the scene, so now we get to actually do some stuff. Let's have a look what we got here. A burn mark on a nearby tree caught my eye. I ran my finger along its length and felt a chill down my spine. This wasn't just any burn mark. This was the mark of an ancient magic. It's doubtful the cops would have picked up on it. Could Lily have been right? Something unnatural was at play here. But I was no stranger to the strange. Alright, investigate the scene. Okay, what we've got here. Muddy footprints everywhere. Difficult to pick out anything from the prints the cops left behind in their haste. But cops don't wear a £2,000 pair of Carquinos. It looked like Mr. Farnsworth was there that night and walked away on his own 2 feet. After looking around for a while longer, I realised the park had given up all it was hiding from me. So I trudged back to my apartment, and my head hit my pillow, like it owed me money.
Next chapter.
The next morning, I was reeling from another bout of ghoulish nightmares, but I tried to hide my discomfort when I saw Lily was already sitting outside my office. She waited wordlessly as I unlocked the door and ripped down another notice from the mayor's office. I motioned for her to step inside, seemingly afraid of what I might say. She finally worked up the courage to ask.
So what did you find?
I've got some good news, but Farnsworth might still be alive. Not sure about beasts, but something unnatural was at play. Might be right to remember. Right, we'll go for that one.
Unnatural? How do you mean?
Spell's mark, rarely seen these days, but unmistakable. I can't give you details, but I'll look into it.
What does that mean? What about Reggie? Do you know where he might be?
I found his footprints. Seems like he got out safely. There are signs he was at the scene and slipped away. My tone was indifferent towards her as I turned and grabbed a bottle from my desk drawer. A dryness in my throat made it difficult to swallow my meds.
But you don't know where he went. Do you think the news this morning is related?
What news is that?
Haven't you heard?
Nope. Rough night followed by a rough morning.
They found the police chief's wife dead down by the docks. They say it happened last night.
Let me guess. Chief Amato is missing too. My face might have betrayed a hint of satisfaction as she confirmed my suspicions, but it faded quickly. Amato was a shit cop and a shit chief. He was half the reason I left the force. But now his wife was dead, and I had more questions than I did the day before. The gears in my head started to spin, which wasn't helped by the splitting pain in my temples. I told Lily I needed time to work, and she left slightly dejected, wanting more answers than I could provide. That night, after the cops had cleared out of the docks, I would slip down and see what I can uncover concerning Mrs. Amato's untimely demise.
Next chapter.
The cold air smelled strongly of salt and oil. And could it be? That smell again, like someone had bottled pure arousal and used it as perfume. It hit me like a long-forgotten memory, but the sensual fumes soon gave way to a rush of adrenaline. I knew exactly what the scent reminded me of, and that scared me more than not knowing. I looked down at my hands, shaking. The nightmares. The headaches. No, I was better now. Reformed. I had to focus. No jumping to conclusions. Follow the evidence. Red Phoenix cigarettes. Same shitty brand I smoke every day. Everyone's got their vice. There, just there, the smallest piece of purple fabric, torn and caught in the splinter of a board. The police report didn't say anything about Mrs. Amato wearing purple, and it was certainly of a quality that you wouldn't expect down here. Don't see too many high society types around flaunting royal purple threads. I pulled out my own pack of reds and lit up. I could already feel another headache coming on, but looking out over the waves seemed to help me forget. The cold helped me push down the uncomfortable thoughts that had been bubbling to the top of my brain.
Next chapter.
I honestly don't remember the walk back to the office. Apparently, I spent the night in my easy chair. The air from the docks lingered on my clothes. It was still dark out. No, I checked the clock. How long had I been out? Had I really slept through the entire next day? A newspaper was sitting under the door. As I stood to fetch it, I nearly fell over. A wave of nausea hit me like a ton of bricks. I steadied myself and regained my composure. Before I even picked up the paper, I could already read the headline. Breaking. Mayor missing. Wife found dead. 2 cases is a coincidence. 3 is a pattern. The cops would come asking questions soon. They knew I had a history of antagonizing all the victims. I stumbled to my desk and slammed back 3 days' worth of inhibitor pills. I couldn't take any chances. I had to investigate the scene to be sure. I threw on my jacket and went to the door. Lily caught me off guard on the other side.
Jack, where are you off to? I've been trying to reach you all day.
I'm sorry, Lily, but I don't have time to talk. I have to go.
Okay, but I need to talk to you when you get back. Stay safe.
She gave me a soft kiss on the cheek as I rushed off. Part of me wanted to stay and tell her it would be okay. But it would be a lie.
Next chapter.
The alley was located just behind the high-rise apartments where Mayor Vinetti and his wife lived. I could tell the police were spooked now. The crime scene was even sloppier than the last. They hadn't even bothered to submit the trash into evidence. Why wouldn't they at least look through the dumpster? It seemed untouched. No one wants to do the dirty work. But I know how to find the good stuff. It really doesn't take long if you know what to look for. Lightweight bags usually mean someone was dumping documents. If you were lucky, they didn't bother to shred them. Jackpot. Shell companies. Shady stock trades. Bribes. I knew Mayor Vanetti was crooked. But this was unbelievable. And there was more. Letters between Mayor Vanetti and Chief Amato, talking about me. How they were trying to get me shut down. They didn't like me snooping around crime scenes all the time. Well, they weren't here to stop me snooping around this one. Vanetti's car. If he's still alive, why wouldn't he have left in his car? It didn't make any sense. I honestly wasn't too motivated to find him, but the stakes were too high, and my bet was edging towards the unthinkable. As I searched around for anything that might assuage my fears, I caught the scent again. It overwhelmed my other senses with undulating pleasure. It was intoxicating. A weapon used on the weak-willed. A weapon I knew all too well, though it had been many years since I had used it. There was another, like me. Was I being framed? It wasn't possible. Was it? I was taking my inhibitors. I was reformed. But the nightmare, the headaches, the memory lapses. I couldn't even trust myself. I started walking back out the alley when something shiny caught my eye. A watch. Not just any watch though. My watch. How long had my wrist been bare? Surely I just dropped it when I first came down to the alley. I checked the time just before I left the office, hadn't I? Or had I used the wall clock? I couldn't be sure. I couldn't be sure of anything. So I ran.
Next chapter.
I don't know why I ran to the office. The cops would probably show up any minute to knock the door down and cart me away. They would put it together before long. Maybe it would be best for everyone if I simply faced my own reflection. But Lily was still there, waiting for me.
Jack, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost.
My own ghost, come back to haunt me from the past.
You're not making any sense, Jack. Come, sit down.
You don't understand. You're not safe around me. I took a good last look at her as I prepared to shove her out the door. I noticed she was wearing the same thing she had when she first came to my office 3 days ago. A beautiful purple dress. Odd that I hadn't really noticed before, but it made her seem out of place, out of time. And it was frayed around the edges, torn in places. My chair caught my fall as my knees failed me. It was you. You are the monster. Succubus.
Oh, Jack. We are one and the same, you and I. We are both monsters. I'm simply more honest with myself. There's no such thing as reformation. Those pills you take only make you dull. Beasts like us should never suppress our true nature, as you have incubus. Those men were probably dead too now, I figured. She probably took them to her lair and harvested their seed. So you've done all this just to wake me up? You could say that, though it seemed odd just to have you doubt yourself.
You believed you were still capable of such horrors, which means deep down, you probably are. You can't escape it. Now I need you to complete the deed. You took my watch. Messed with my head.
Oh, don't act like I didn't do you a favour. Those men hated you, or wanted you gone. And now they are gone.
I mustered the strength to stand again, moving casually to the window by the corner. She was right about one thing. I was dull, weak compared to her. If I refused her and she attacked me, I was a dead man. I had to keep her talking. I've never met a succubus who seduces and kills women.
Oh please, such 14th century stereotype. I don't discriminate when it comes to the pleasures of the flesh. But I do still need an incubus like yourself to take the tainted seed I've harvested from those awful men and plant it among the fertile masses for me. I'm tired of draining my lovers just to survive. I'm ready to settle down and start a family.
That maniacal laughter. I positioned myself carefully, making sure she was looking my direction. Sorry, but I'm not your guy. With a quick flick of my wrist, I whipped the old bedsheet off the corner mirror. Lily was blinded by her own reflection and sucked into the mirror with a painful, monstrous scream. Trapped. Shielding my own eyes, I pulled a revolver from my desk side drawer, aimed it at the mirror, and fired. More from random. Okay, so they do different more games. Okay, that was definitely interesting. Bit of a mindfuck. Quite halfway through, I was starting to think, oh, maybe he was the killer. Maybe he did do it. Because of all the blackouts and stuff. But wow, that was. I wasn't expecting that. Nice to have sort of like the old, 1920s, 1910s sort of thing going on, mixed in with a bit of magic and fantasy. It made for an interesting story. So yeah, banker, the part, police chief, so we've done it all. Interesting. I do like that. As I said before the video, the link for the game will be in the description below. If you want to play it yourself, maybe try out some of the answers, see if they come up with different endings, let me know in the comments. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you liked it, please leave a like and a comment down in the comment sections below, and do not forget to subscribe for more great content from Nagaland Game. And until next time, bye.